My name is Shayna Jane, a certified sobriety health and wellness coach with 14 years of experience in the treatment industry, and also my own history with substance abuse. As the founder and CEO of Controlled Chaos, I've made it my mission to provide a supportive community for those facing alcoholism and addiction. This podcast is a real, no-nonsense exploration of life in sobriety. No sugarcoating, just real, honest conversations. Life after addiction can be a crazy, wild ride. And here at Controlled Chaos, we're here to tackle it head on. From navigating relationships to finding purpose, we're your lifeline in chaos. Let's dive into the real challenges of sobriety and carve out our path together. I love y'all mucho. Let's go.
Welcome to Controlled Chaos. I'm your host, Shayna. And can you go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of what you do?
Okay. My name is Anahi Rosales. I'm a jack of all trades, right? I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I am a professional bodybuilder. I'm an online fitness and life coach and also a content creator. It's a lot.
I love it. Okay, so first of all, is it Ani or Anahi?
Anahi, like an eyeball.
Okay. I was like, I know I'm going to mess that up. Okay, Anahi. Sounds good. Such a pretty name. So how I kind of got to know of you or like your kind of creator stuff is just kind of being online and looking for inspirational women. And you do a lot of like hilarious, funny content, right? And that's kind of what caught my eye. But you have like a huge, amazing story. And that kind of made me like keep paying attention and watching everything you do. And I love that. I'm like a girl's girl and I love your story. And you're from Texas.
Yep.
I lived in Texas in South Padre for like 8 years and San Antonio for a while. So kind of my heart's there. I had to come back to my hometown, but I love Texas and my oldest stayed there. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So first of all, as far as like your creator stuff, so you do a lot of like funny, creative skits and stuff like that. What kind of got you into doing that?
My kids.
Really?
Back in about 2019, they were in high school and they had just kind of brand new to getting phones because I was kind of a strict mom. I didn't let them get phones until their freshman year. And so I was very strict with them. I would make them turn their phone in at a certain time. I would give them their phone at a certain time in the morning. They weren't allowed to have their phones upstairs or near their rooms. I was really crazy about the phone thing because I was just so afraid of like what they would be exposed to on the internet and with social media, of course. And then I noticed there was a while where they started getting like really into being their phones a lot more. They were watching their phone a lot. And I have to kind of get after them and be like, hey, like, get off the phone a little bit. Like you guys are using it a little too much. Like you have so many hours in the day to be on the phone and you're just like on it constantly. And I would tell them, turn off the phone, watch some TV or something or hang out. And they would tell me, Mom, it's because we're on this app, TikTok. If we get off our phone, we're basically going to do the same thing if we're watching TV. It's entertainment. We're going to get on YouTube. It's the same thing. And I'm like, no, it's not. So then they started showing me what TikTok was. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. It is entertainment for them, And this is when TikTok was first kind of sort of starting like 2019 or picking up. And then my daughter and my son were like, oh, let's do TikToks together. So my daughter started doing like these dance TikToks with me. And she noticed that her views would pick up whenever I did TikToks with her. And then so she was like, oh, we should do more TikToks together. And then, of course, she didn't want her, I guess, account changing. So she's like, let's make an account for you. So she made an account for me and everything. And so then she started kind of managing the type of TikToks I would do. And I would just kind of run with whatever she told me. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, our whole family was home, my husband, myself, and all three of the kids. And so we had a lot of time on our hands. And that was when we started doing more TikToks together. And then they just started going viral. So we had one that hit about 10 million views. And that one kind of is like the start of it all. That's where it kind of picked up. And then, of course, couple years later, my kids got too big and too cool for me. So now I don't get them to make as many TikToks with me, but I continued it because it's been doing so well.
I love that. And it's kind of cool how before it used to be like kind of a negative thing. Like we were all trying to be like, use it less, use it less. And now it
Yeah,
kind of brings us all together, right? Like I
for
can get
sure.
my 8-year-old to do stuff with me and I'm like, okay. But you're right. The teenagers are like, get away from me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, even if I look at their algorithm in comparison to mine, mine's like a bunch of like millennial Gen X old school stuff, and theirs is like completely different, but I really love TikTok because it's very specific to what you like. That's why people get stuck on it for so long, because it's just what you're interested in and that's what it continues to show you. So you kind of get hooked. And so it's kind of cool because I've created my own little platform where people can come for comedy and also learn a lot about mental health. I just kind of figured, I've always had or not always, but I spent so many years kind of struggling with my mental health. And as I finally came out and understood what I had and what I was going through, I kind of decided, like, you know what? I have this huge platform and I can use it to educate people, because I know I had no idea what I was going through. And because I didn't know what I was going through, it was hard to find help and it was hard to help myself. And
Yeah.
so as I educated myself through the process, I'm like, I can educate other people and help them learn and also spread positivity through this platform. And so I use it for both. Every day I post funny and educational and positive, motivating content.
Yes. And I love that. Kind of what this podcast was born from was because I'm in recovery. I am an alcoholic and addict, and I've always kind of defined myself by that. And I worked in treatment for a long time and that type of thing. And as I got into this like TikTok, Instagram world where there's like a whole bunch of people in mental health and in the recovery community, I've actually kind of changed so much of my thinking around, like maybe alcohol is just not great for people in general. And like, it is an addictive substance. And maybe I don't have to be defined by that, right? Maybe I got
Right.
addicted because it's addictive. Kind of like, cigarettes used to be so, so popular. And as we got older, it was like, no, cigarettes are bad for you. They're not cool, right? It's
Right.
kind of turning into that a little bit. And of course, if people drink or whatever, I don't ever judge them or care about that, but kind of more just to say that maybe it is normal for people to decide like, hey, alcohol doesn't work with me. It's not good for me
Yeah.
type of deal. So it
Right.
really has helped me. Social media has helped me just in my own mental health journey. And that's kind of where I found your account so cool, was seeing how you kind of had gone through this journey. So can you tell us a little bit about like your journey, like how you grew up and what kind of got you looking at more of the mental health side of things?
Okay.
That's a huge question, right?
It is. Yeah, it's a loaded question. So is there anything off limits that I can say or can't say here? I'm not sure how it works. Okay.
Nope. You can say whatever you want.
Okay. So growing up, I had, a little bit of an interesting childhood. I spent a lot of time with some aunts and uncles, and then also my mom. My mom had a very demanding job. She was a truck driver, so she wasn't around too much. She was gone a lot of the time. And of course, this was at a time when I was like, middle school, high school type age. Actually, let me go back. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Because it's very hard for me because I don't really ever talk about my whole story. So it's kind of like hard to place it, what comes first, what comes last. But
Totally.
when I was younger, I experienced a couple of instances with pedophilia. And so growing up, that was kind of one of the things that I had to deal with mentally, and just kind of try and understand where I was at, which is very difficult as a child because you don't understand at all what that is, why it happened, should it have happened, is it wrong, is it right? Like there's so many things that run through a child's head when they go through that. And I didn't only go through it once, I went through it a few times. And so I think that's kind of where like going through that kind of trauma is what led me into like when I was in middle school and high school, I sought out a lot of validation from other people because I didn't have my mom around all the time. And so I started, doing a lot of things in high school, going out a lot, drinking a lot, doing drugs, and putting myself in situations that I didn't have to be in, and I experienced a whole lot through that time. I did a lot of things. I ran away. I went through a whole lot in that period of time. And I think it was just because there was so much in my head. And I was very resentful of certain people around me because I didn't feel protected. And so I almost feel like now that I look back, that was my way of like fighting back. Like I was upset at the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And although if you met me, you wouldn't have known that I'd gone through none of that because I didn't really talk about it to anybody. It was just, I was the party girl. I
Right.
was the,
Coping mechanism, kind of. Just the
oh
part.
yeah, I was like, let's go get crazy. Like, that was me all through high school and my early 20s, you know? And I don't know, I think it just, all of it kept me very traumatized for a long time. I was very upset for years. And I dealt with a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety. I had depression. I went through a period in high school where I tried to take a bottle of pills because I was angry at the world and I didn't want to exist and I didn't think that I belonged at that time.
Right.
And then, you know, that's just one instance. And then later, but these again were things I never talked to people about. These were just things that I was dealing with at home by myself, in my own head. And as I got older, they never left. So I had my children, which were, oh my God, such a blessing. You know, I found out I was pregnant at 21. And of course, at 21, you think, oh my God, I'm not ready. But,
Right.
you know, the universe had a beautiful way of just saying, hey, we have this wonderful gift for you. And I'm about to bless you with 2 kids at once because those 2 babies are going to love you indefinitely and give you everything that you ever missed out on, you know? And so when they came into my life, everything changed. Everything changed.
You had twins?
I did. I had a boy
At
and a girl
21.
in 2004. Yeah, I was 21 when I was pregnant. And
That is so crazy.
yeah, it was, I mean, you're telling me.
That's a lot
And
at
so,
such a young age. I
yeah,
had
it is.
girls young, but oh my goodness, 2 at
Yeah.
once, 21.
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of people ask, like, how did you do it? I'm like, you know, when you don't know better, you don't know. Like, I didn't know what it was like just to raise one. So to me, raising 2 is normal.
You just did it.
Yeah. So, you know, getting through that first, I went through some situations where I put myself in relationships that weren't very healthy for me. I got married very young, straight out of high school. And that was a very, very bad relationship for me. It messed with me really bad mentally because I was giving my heart and soul to this person and that person completely rejected it. And so I felt very hurt. And then I moved on, moved away from El Paso. I literally ran away from El Paso. I wouldn't say not from home because I was married. I just knew that I had to leave because if I wasn't going to leave, I was going to keep going to this really bad situation, which was my marriage. And so I came to San Antonio and just within 2 weeks, I made the decision and I took off. Came to San Antonio and I just started my life here. And then I met my kid's father. And like I said, life has a crazy way of happening because I met him in August and by February I was pregnant. And, you know, I was in a relationship with him for almost 6 years. And that just, you know, we were young. It was not a very healthy relationship either. It was time to leave that situation. And I left. And during that whole time, I was dealing with depression and anxiety, and I didn't know. And I knew I was fighting with something, but I didn't know that that was like, that's what it's called. It's depression. It's anxiety, you know? And when I left that situation, I was like, okay, I'm starting brand new. I'm by myself. I'm going to make life work for me and my kids. And I was always a very super devoted mother. So it was just me and my 2 kids by ourselves. And I ended up meeting my husband randomly. And, oh my God, he's just an angel to me. I don't even know how I got that lucky, but I met him and I could just be an open book with him and talk to him about everything. And I wasn't judged and none of it was held against me because in the past, that's what happened to me in my relationships. It was held against me. And as far as my mental health was concerned. And with him, it was more like, I'm here to hear you out. I'm here to hear you out. So for years, I talked about all these traumas and I kept repeating it. But that's what we do when we're traumatized, right? We don't know how to get out of it. So we keep repeating it, replaying it in our head as if we were able to change it. But we never understand that, hey, we don't live there anymore. We live here now. You're here, you're safe, you're loved. That doesn't even exist anymore. But I had to get to a point where I understood that. And what ended up happening is I ended up dealing with like severe PTSD. I started getting extremely traumatized. I was scared of people. I was afraid of my kids going anywhere. I was afraid of anybody speaking to my kids, them spending time with anybody else but me if I wasn't around. I mean, I was honestly to the point where, even if I walked out of the room and my mom was in the room with my kids, I'd come in and like, what's going on? Like try and see if something was going wrong. You know what I mean? It was to
Like,
that
are they
point
okay?
all the time. And I always thought the thing is like I never thought, oh, they're being abused physically. I just was so afraid of them being sexually abused at any point that it became this thing that I carried on my shoulders every day, all day. The moment my kids would leave to school, it was just so scary to me. And then all of a sudden in about 2016 or 2015, I started dealing with severe anxiety attacks and then this depression that would come in waves. It would come for 3 days and just hit me so hard. I would be in the room in the dark all day. I would cry, cry. I mean, I can't even explain the darkness that I felt during those times. It was bad. And then I started like, okay, well, if I drink alcohol, it takes me out of that state. It makes me happy. So then I
Right.
started drinking a little more. I started drinking while making dinner, drinking while washing dishes, drinking before putting the kids to bed. And then the kids would go to bed and then I'd keep drinking. And then my husband would go to bed and I'd say, oh, I'm going to stay up a little bit longer, watch some TV, unwind. And it was just so I could stay up and drink. And then I started doing this daily because daily is what I needed. And then it turned into 2 p.m. would come around. I'm like, oh, I got to prepare lunch for the kids when they come home from school. So I'm going to go pick up a bottle of wine. And when I get home, I'm going to drink just a glass. But that would kind of follow through until I knocked out on the couch because I was just drunk. And so I started doing this for a good while. And then I started doing cocaine because cocaine would wake me up. Right.
Yeah.
The alcohol would bring me down and then the coke would bring me back up so I could function. I could be present. I could spend Easter with my kids and I could be uppity and happy and but I didn't realize that all of this was causing me to get even worse. I mean, I'd say, okay, I'm not going to drink the next day. And then I'd wake up and feel horrible and I try to make it through the day. And then there I was, 2 p.m. Yeah, I could just have another glass of wine. And so it just became my cycle. It was my crutch. I definitely used alcohol and cocaine as my way of getting through it all. And then I started getting to the point where I didn't want to be around anymore. I started having these feelings and these thoughts of this is never going to end. I don't know when this sadness is going to stop. I don't belong here. My kids deserve better. My husband deserves better. I didn't feel like people loved me. It was just this deep, deep darkness that took over.
Start to feel kind of like a burden.
Oh, beyond a burden. I felt useless. I was like, I don't understand. The only reason I'm here is because my kids and my husband need me here. But I was deeply feeling like I didn't belong anymore. And I wanted it to end because I kept going through these major depressive spells and they were so hard. I can't even tell you. It's not even just sadness. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't think right. I would forget everything. Sometimes I was driving and I'd get lost because my mind was not right. And then one night, I remember laying in the bed next to my husband and he was breathing because he was asleep. So I could hear him breathing. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, why can't I be normal like him? Why can't I be like him? Why can't I just like go to sleep happy? No anxiety, no sad feelings. Like, why can't I be like that?
Right.
And at this point, I had lost a lot of my friends. They completely stopped talking to me. I guess because I was a burden. That I would ask for help because I would cry sometimes. And that was a really hard hit for me too. So when I lost them, I felt very alone. And
Mhm.
and so that last day where I was hearing my husband breathe, I remember thinking like, okay, tonight's the night. I'm gonna listen to him breathe a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna get up, and then I'm gonna put myself to sleep forever. But I fell asleep. I knocked out, and the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh my God, my babies, my husband, you know? And that's when I told my husband, I said, I need help. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not okay in my head, you know? And
Mhm.
so I went to my doctor. Actually, he started looking for a psychologist and psychiatrist. And I told him, I said, I'm pretty sure I need a psychiatrist. I think I need medication because I'm not well. And so I went to a psychiatrist. And in my very first meeting, you know, they do this interview where they ask you a ton of questions. They're trying to get to know you. And the first thing she tells me is, you're an alcoholic. And I was like, what? Like, you are out of your mind. I am not an alcoholic. And she's like, you're an alcoholic. And the first thing we got to work on is you just got to stop drinking, and a lot of things will get better. And she said, but for now, you know, let's try this medication. I'm diagnosing you with PTSD
Mhm.
and alcoholism. And I was like, okay. So then, of course, I was in denial for a few months. My husband stopped drinking entirely. He stopped completely. So then whenever we started going out to eat to dinner or anything, or even if I just being with him, if I wanted alcohol, nobody likes to drink alone, right?
Right.
So it started getting a little boring for me. Like, gosh, you know, by myself drinking, there's no use. Then I just started noticing after a couple of months, like I am having a hard time stopping this, and that's not good. Like, I guess I do need it, you know? And so I decided the craziest thing is throughout this whole time I'm working, okay, and I'm a trainer, so I have clients under me, and I had a couple of clients that I was putting through like a program for fat loss, and I had one client in particular who wanted to move on to bodybuilding, and so I put her through a 12-week cut to get her closer to that, and then she was going to move on to a prep coach. Well, toward the end of her cut, when it was time for her to leave to a new coach, she came over and said, hey, I just wanted to thank you for your time and, you know, all of your energy into me. She's like, but I have a question. She's like, why don't you do it with me? And I said, do what? And she's like, do a competition.
Mhm.
And I was like, absolutely not. Mind you, at this time, I had already gained 40 pounds in the span of a year from the drinking, eating, and just all the abuse I was doing to my body, right?
Right.
I was heaviest I've ever been. And I was like, no, I can't. And she's like, why not? What else do you have going on?
Mhm.
And I don't think she understands how much she impacted my life with that, because I was like, you know what? You're so right. What else do I have going on? Why can't I do that? You know, because I've always wanted to. I
Right.
just never, because I've been a trainer for years. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So as soon as she left, I looked up a coach. I literally, that day, I did everything. I hired him, and cold turkey, I stopped everything. I stopped the drugs and I stopped the alcohol.
Mhm.
And then I went full force into this bodybuilding thing. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in. Like, I'm going to put my heart and soul into it. And so bodybuilding became sort of a therapy for me because it was helping me cope in a different way. I had my mind on something else. I had my mind on a goal this whole time.
Right.
And I was working vigilantly to this goal. And in the meantime, I was also going to therapy, learning about myself, discovering who I really was, what I needed, working through the issues that I never worked through. And then one day, this is still during this first year of therapy, I show up to my therapy and my therapist is like, hey, so toward the end of our therapy session, she says, so this is the last day we're together because I'm being moved to the VA. And I was like, what? Like I was
Right.
seeing her 2 times a week for
Mm-hmm.
months. And I was like, no, 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 you can't leave me. You
Right.
cannot leave me. I don't know what I'm going to do by myself. And she's like, I know that you feel that you need me. She's like, but honestly, every time you're here, we don't talk about your past anymore. All we talk about is your week and how it's going. She's like, you have moved on. You're okay
Yeah.
now. And I was like, there's no way. Like, I just can't be by myself. So she said, okay, let me get you. My friend is a therapist. She's great. We'll go ahead and move your chart to her, and she'll take care of you from here moving forward. All right. So then when I saw her the following week, it started all over. She started asking me all the same questions. What happened when you were a child? I was like, I'm not reliving any of that again.
Right.
I can't do that. I can't do that to myself because I'm not there anymore. I'm past it. So when I left her following morning, I went to drop off my kids at school, right? And I still had so much work to do for myself. I was not healed yet. I was
Mhm.
healed from my past, but I was still dealing with a lot in the present,
Yeah.
just with my mental health, because I still had not been diagnosed with what I actually have. And so I was still dealing with depressive episodes. And I'm like, I'm okay. Drop my kids off at school, and on the way, there's a library across the street from the school. I said, I'm going to stop at this library, and I'm not going to leave until I find a book that's going to help me with my life.
Right.
So of all the books that I don't know what I was looking for, but of all the books that I could have picked, I picked a book written by the Dalai Lama, and it was about Buddhism. I don't know why. That's just what called to me, right? So I spent the next week reading that book. Every night I would go into the bedroom upstairs. My husband would stay with the kids, and I would just read. And then I was like, oh my God, wow. Like I have been looking at life so wrong. Like, where was I all this time? Where have I been? So then I got into meditation because this is part of Buddhism, right? Meditation. And so I didn't know the first thing about meditation. So I started looking it up online. And I found the meditation from he's a guru. His name is Deepak Chopra. And I found a meditation that he did with Oprah, believe it or not. And Oprah has programs, 21-day programs that she does with Deepak Chopra. And they're all meditative programs, and they're all healing programs. Well, I took one that was called 21 Days of Hope.
Yeah.
And so okay, these next 21 days, I'm going to devote to this meditative process. I'm going to do the work. So every day I would walk to my amenity center from our house, and I would go into the sauna. I would turn on the speaker with the meditation, and I would do the whole meditation. I would cry at the end of every meditation. And at the 21st day, I came out a whole different person with a whole different perspective on just life in general. I was loving myself again. I was understanding myself. I was starting to love myself.
Yeah.
Like I should have from the beginning, right? And so that led me to look for more meditation. I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. What else can I find? Then I ran into another guru. His name is Sadhguru. Okay. And he offered several speeches. There were several speeches on YouTube. And so I would take walks. I would listen to him. I would listen to Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins, and all three of them, which is crazy because they'll never know this, but they completely shifted my life. And so I ended up taking a course from Sadhguru that he offers online now after COVID. And it's called Inner Engineering. And it's just him teaching you about yourself and how to view life and how to view others. And since then, I'm obsessed with people. I absolutely love everybody. I have this yearning to spread so much love and joy to other people, and to just like make them feel good. Like it is my goal to make other people feel good. And that's it. That's all I want. That's it. I want my children happy. I want my husband happy. I'm happy. And all I want to do is spread joy to everybody. And so that is where I've been mentally, since then, I still deal with my mental health issues. I'm on medication now because eventually my doctor figured out that I was major depressive, which is why I was coming in waves. So I
Mm-hmm.
have 3, 4 really bad days and then 2 good days, and then 3, 4 really bad days and then 2 good days. And now with
Right.
the medication, I'm stabilized. I get a depressive episode maybe once. Now maybe once a month, if anything, maybe. That's maybe. But now I know how to deal with them. Now I understand it's just a moment. Now I understand it's going to pass. Now I know that it's not my reality. It's just in that moment that I'm going through that. And so having that mentality helped me so much get through my preparation for bodybuilding, because that was a huge thing that I was putting myself through. It was mentally tasking and physically tasking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know how I did it. I don't know. But the first show, I qualified for nationals. The second show, I won my pro card. I did it as fast as anybody could and shocked myself. But I was so proud of myself because I taught myself that, damn, I am capable of anything. I'm that incredible that I'm capable of anything. And the most important part is I showed that to my children.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That everything I went through didn't matter because I was still just as amazing and capable and incredible. And like, you could overcome anything, you know? And so since then, life has just been so good. Life has been great. Life has taken a bit of a turn recently for me. About a year and a half ago, I ended up in the hospital and they found a mass growing in my brain. And so thankfully, they said it's not harmful, it's not growing, I'm good.
Right.
But being in the hospital for that and learning that, being told that by a neurologist, the scare that we felt
So
up until
scary.
oh yeah. And I think since that day, I came out of the hospital again, a brand new person, because at that point, I'm like, I don't have time to waste.
Being unhappy or like worrying about the past
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah. And granted, that was all behind me. I was living already. I'm good. You know, I'm a very happy person. I'm very blessed. And like I said, all that time that I spent learning about myself really changed things for me. But that day in the hospital and just going through that period where we didn't know what was going on. And then finally, when we actually figured out, like, okay, everything's going to be okay, it just kind of flipped another switch in my head. It was like another chapter of my life that I just opened up. And it's like, well, shoot, if I wasn't already living, I'm going to live now,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so right now, that's where I'm at. It's been a year and a half since that happened. I get MRIs every 6 months
Mm-hmm.
of my brain just so they can check it. But I don't worry about it because I can't change whatever's going to happen anyhow. It is what it is. All I
Right.
can do is make sure that I'm living my life to the fullest and I'm happy and everyone around me is happy and everybody that I can touch,
Right.
whether it be in person or just simply on the internet. I want to make other people happy. And that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
I love that. I love just your story in general. My favorite thing about being in recovery and talking to people who are thinking about recovery or thinking about, getting rid of some substance or all substances is like, I used to think when I wanted to quit drinking that like I was so bad in my alcoholism that like there was no question, right? Like I was bad, not doing well. And when I thought about quitting drinking, I was like, but wait a minute, like there's a reason I started drinking to begin with. Like I don't want to feel how I felt either. Like I felt so bad without substances, always anxious, always depressed. And what I kind of always love to like show people and tell people is once I got sober, I didn't ever go back to that person. I created a new person. Like I looked into meditations, and I love that you bring up Oprah because she was my big how to learn about forgiveness was from her. And I always laugh at myself. I'm like, Oprah? But no, really, she says the most profound things and has the most profound people. But I got so much into like, how do you find happiness, that I found it. And, not to say that things don't go wrong or I'm not ever sad or I have depressive disorder. So I go through my minutes, right? It'll last a
Yeah.
few days. Like, like I could stay in bed and I could cry and I don't even know if there's anything wrong, right? There's really nothing I can pick up that's wrong with me, but
Right.
something that I go through. But I used to go through that all the time, like it wouldn't let up. And it was like you said, every few days. And when I thought about putting down substances, I was, oh, hell no. Like, I don't want to feel like that. I'll probably off myself then too. What's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to feel good. So
Yeah.
I always want people to know that you don't have to go back to that old you, right? Everybody's like, I want to be like that person I used to be. I never felt that way.
Yeah.
I be someone new. Like I wanted to be happy. I wanted to just be like a regular person. Like when you
Yeah.
talked about watching your husband breathe, that was it for me. I would look at people and be like, how? Like, how are you
How
just
like that? Mhm.
Yeah. And I know a lot of us who have struggled with substance abuse know that feeling, like you just don't feel right and you don't even know what it is or maybe why you're sad. And
Yeah.
you might have trauma, but you might not. It may be just something in your brain, but it is something that you can work on. And like you used exercise and meditation and things like that. And you kind of have to find your thing, right? Like, what is your
Yeah.
thing? Changes how
Well, it took me, I had to completely stay away from alcohol for 3 years, like not a drop, not nothing. And then
Mhm.
eventually, because see, the thing is, yes, I was drinking alcohol daily, but I mean, man, and it's hard to say because being told you're an alcoholic is such a big statement. And I never wanted to live through that statement. I was like, okay, I'm using this as a crutch. Absolutely. And at some point I realized it. At first I didn't, because I just thought, oh, I'm making myself feel better, which is using a crutch.
Right.
Then eventually I understood, like, okay, I could just stop this. Like, I need to just stop. And so I stopped completely for 3 years. And now my husband and I can go out and have some drinks, but it's not anywhere near what I used to do to myself. I don't wake up wishing, oh, it's a sunny day. I want to like get blasted right now, or oh, it's midday. I kind of want to drink. Like, no, I've completely put myself in a whole different state where I'm okay. I can go to work. I can function. I keep myself busy. I'm happy through what I do on a day-to-day basis now. Like, I am completely in a good place here and here mentally and in my heart, to where I just don't have to focus on, I got to have that feeling of being drunk right now. And so it feels good to be at that point too, because it was scary. Let me tell you, I mean, I will say, and it's not for everybody to go back and try to drink socially again. It's definitely not, because I've met people who just cannot go back to even social drinking. So
Yeah.
that's a
I
big,
think there's a time. I think people really know what it is for themselves. I
yeah,
often like tell people that even for alcoholics and addicts, like it's rarely about the substance, right? It's like what you're running from and what you don't want to feel.
yeah,
And for me, I will never be able to go back to drinking, right? And I know that. But there are people out there, just like mental health in general, where you're using, like people even use food, right? I've used food numerous times to fill something, right?
yeah.
So it's often not even about the substance, right? And that's kind of what I was even saying before, is like when you take that substance away, you're left with you and you work on you and you figure out what's going on and things will change for you.
Isn't that crazy?
Good
That
part.
part that you just said, that when you leave the substance, you're left with you. And that was probably one of the hardest things, is like, I actually have to feel now.
Yes.
That
I
was,
remember leaving my ex-husband, girl, and my family, my friends, everybody, and we had a very toxic relationship. So, I mean, true enough, we had a very toxic relationship. But I remember my family always saying, you're drinking all the time because of him, because he does this and he does. And I was like, yeah, you're right. He sucks. And that's why I drink every day. Well, girl, when I got divorced and moved all the way from Michigan to Texas and I was still a drunk, I was like, well, I don't know what happened there. Well, I came with me, right? Like
Yeah.
I moved away from him and I thought everything was going to be great. No, I was still there and I was still miserable, and it doesn't take away from the fact that it wasn't a great relationship. It wasn't a great spot to be in, but he wasn't the reason I was drinking. I was drinking because I had mental health issues and because I was an alcoholic, right? So like, at the end of the day, when that was gone, I had to eventually face me. And it took me a long time to do that. But when I did, it's crazy the things that I've accomplished that I didn't even know were possible, that I didn't even think right? And that's why I love like talking to people and working with people. And that's what I seen in you. I was like, oh goodness. I think somebody had said something like negative on one of your posts or something, and you did a video, and I was like, I hope she cusses them out. And you nothing ever.
The
And I
old,
was
the old
there.
me would have. The old me would have, but believe me, because when I was younger, I was.
Get that from that nice lady in her. I don't know how she did that, and it inspired me because it sounds so silly, but like when you're negative, it's like that thing they say, like drinking the poison and expecting somebody else to get sick, right? Sounds cliche, but it's right. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take in that negativity and I'm going to hope you stop being so negative. And I looked at that and I was like, she is such an amazing person. Like she has like a light to shine. That's so cool. And
Thank you.
I admire that.
Thank you so much for that. That's so sweet. I love hearing that. It's so beautiful when somebody compliments who you are, not what you look like, not the things you're doing, but just who your spirit is. And that's probably one of the biggest things too, is just I want to leave this world knowing that like I helped other people smile and I spread love and and a lot of time, especially with social media can be very negative. There's a lot of people out there who just say very mean things to others. I mean, it's easy to hide behind a keyboard and say something to somebody because would you really say that to them in person? And granted, there are some people that would, but the fact of the matter is like our natural response to somebody being mean to us is to attack back, right?
Right.
I just kind of like, and I'm telling you, when I was younger, I got into a lot of fights. I was a fighter. I got into a lot of trouble. I had a lawsuit on me because of one. It was bad. I was a very angry girl. But nowadays, when I see the way some people respond to, or comment to me or comment on my appearance, on how I act, what I say, most of it's about my appearance, right? Because that's what most people attack each other on online. But I just think to myself, like, what am I going to get out of getting angry at this person? This person obviously does not know better. And when other people are like, don't give them attention, and it's like, no. It's not that I'm giving them attention. The thing is, if nobody talks to you about it or responds to you with love, how are you ever going to understand that what you're doing is not right? That there's a better way to go about life? That when you spread love and light, it comes right back to you. Normally, when you spread negativity, it comes right back to you. But I don't want to be that person for them. I want to make sure that I show them like, hey, all right, you attacked me, but listen, I know you're different. I know you've got something inside your heart, and it's love, because we're all born of love. That's our first feeling when we're born. So if that's the feeling that you can continue to repeat and share with other people, why not? You just learned negative. You learned negativity. You were born negative. You learned that. So the fact that people come online and attack you and say ugly things, that's learned behavior. It's from what they've watched, what they've hung around with, what they've grown up with, the people they surround themselves with, even the TV shows you watch. You watch maybe Real Housewives all day. That's super negative and ugly. And what are you going to learn from it? To fight other people. Like if you don't understand that you have full control of what's in your heart, and that you don't have to succumb to all the negativity that's out there, then you can live such a beautiful life. Like it can change so much. And so whenever I respond to these people, I try my best just to give them love and just to say, hey, maybe next time try this instead of attacking
Well,
somebody.
and what I found from that is like, yeah, most people, it's like why didn't you just tell them where to go or whatever? But what I actually found from that is like, if somebody's negative to you and you respond in like a caring, compassionate manner, they may think about it next time before they just like jump online and like,
Sure.
criticize someone or whatever. They might be like, last time it didn't go how I thought it was going to go
Yeah.
or whatever. Hey, maybe I should think before I speak more than, if you're fighting with somebody, it's like fire with fire. And
Yeah.
I thought I thought it was really cool. So I think just like the message that you carry, like just spreading love in general is super, super cool because a lot of people miss that, right? You have your everyday life, you're stressed out, you feel negative, so you just want to push that on other people. And it's those people that are like, hey, I'm not going to keep spreading that can
Yeah.
change, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, think about whenever you've been having a tough day, because you said you deal with them just like I do, And there's been days where I'm at the gym and I'm working out and I'm feeling horrible. I'm dealing with what's going on in my head because of my mental health and I'm crying. Sometimes I take my cap, I put it down and I cry as I'm lifting weights. And just one random person coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you're doing so good today," or "Hey, oh my God, you're killing it," or "Hey, how
Right.
are you?" Like just a smile, just anything. Think of how much that brightens your day in just that moment. It's like
Right.
such a beautiful thing that you can shed so much light on somebody just by simply smiling at them. And so, like, I try my best to just, spread that because I know how much I've needed it. And
Yeah.
so I know other people need it too, even the ones that look happy, shoot, because a lot of time those are the people that are struggling too. A lot of time I'm faking the smile. I'm
Hmm.
pretending to be all right. I'm having conversations with people when deep down inside I'm falling apart, but they
Yeah.
wouldn't know that because I'm a good actress, and you're a good actress too, because I'm sure you do it too. And I've said that before. I don't know if you've ever read, I write a lot of things on my page, just thoughts that I'm thinking, but I've always said that people that deal with depression and anxiety are the best actors and actresses because they have to put on a smile and act normal when they're falling apart inside.
Hmm.
And that's one of the biggest things is like, whenever somebody tells me like, "Oh, I'm dealing with this," it's like, you're just a warrior and you don't even see it. Like
Right. And you
you're
don't even know.
so hard on yourself. Yeah. We're so hard on ourselves because we don't function just like everyone else or a lot of other people. But at the end of the day, like, how strong are you to go through that and wake up and seize the day? And maybe according to you, you didn't seize it, but you actually did because you survived a whole day where you had to fight with your head and your head
Yeah.
was against you, you know? And that's such
100%.
a thing. Like, I just think everybody in general is beautiful and everybody is so strong in their own way. But I have such a deep, sentiment for people who deal with depression because
Yeah,
it's a horrible, horrible thing to go through.
it is. So if you could leave our little viewers with anything, what is something you would want them to know?
To
It,
know,
girl.
oh man, I,
About life, about you, about anything.
yeah.
It could be
If
about
there's anything I'd want them to know, I just want them to know that they're amazing and they deserve the world. That's it.
I love it. So tell us about your services before we go. What kind of stuff do you offer online? Where can people look you up if they want to see more of you? All that jazz.
Okay, so I have two different platforms. I have TikTok, and on TikTok, I'm known as I'm a cool mom, duh. Thanks to my kids. I post a lot of my stuff there. So a lot of the comedic content, mental health, all that good stuff. As far as business is concerned, I do use my Instagram mostly for business inquiries. My Instagram is at follow her fitness. I do post all of my comedic content there. I try not to flood it too much with workout content, but I do here and there because people do ask for it. But I do train people online. So I'm an online coach. I train them all around the world, no matter where they're at. As long as you can speak and read English, I can train you online, workout program, nutrition program, life coaching. And it's as easy as sending me a DM or going to my website. I have a work website or a business website. It is www.myphysique.coach. And that website kind of shows before and afters with my clients, testimonials, and just information about what I offer with my business. Yeah.
Yay. And she answers the DM, y'all. I don't know
I
how
do.
many
I try
followers.
with a lot of them, but I try.
All right, girl. Well, it has been so fun having you on, and I thank you for just sharing your story with us.
Well, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to share it. That's a huge deal to me. Thank you.
Yay.